happy with how our guys played, happy with how our guys prepared. Told Coach Mason after the game, I was like, I'll see you guys in March. Like, they didn't play their best tonight, but they've also was on a COVID stoppage and everything else. But that team's going to be good. Like, Alex Morales is a good player. Elijah Ford didn't play very well because he was in foul trouble and everything else. He's a good player. Zaire Williamson, for a freshman, like, some of the shots they make, some of the things they do. But I felt like our guys respected them. We prepared that way. But we also knew, like, how hard this team played and how physical they were and what we needed to do to continue to play well. We got to keep cleaning different areas up, but I felt like we took steps in the right direction, offensively and defensively, so I'm happy with what we did.
Micah, when you guys went on that 22-4 run, all 22 of your points came around the rim or from the three-point line or from the free throw line. Is that the best you've seen your offense play this year?
We took, really long segments of practice Monday and Tuesday, and then a long segment in shoot-around today, just strictly focused on our offense. Just simplifying what we do, getting everybody on the same page, and cutting at a high rate and a high pace. And I thought we did it. There was a lot of carryover, right? You work on things, you hope you carry it over to the game when you spend a lot of time on it. But then there's also areas where you don't want to take steps back, right? We didn't spend as much time defensively that we normally do, but yet we were pretty good defensively too. So that's like the challenge of what you do. But I felt like how our guys played, how they cut, where we started our offense, and where we're getting our first catch. I thought all of that was great. So we're getting there. I think we're going to see a great challenge on Saturday. Michigan State's one of the best defenses in America, right? So we have to go back and do it again and figure out to do the same exact things. But when you do that, you put time in and you have success with it, right? You keep getting more guys to buy into how we're playing once they see success. So I thought it was the best we played, and we got to be even better on Saturday.
You said earlier this week you couldn't expect to beat Wagner by just 20 points. You did come out and beat Wagner by 20 points. How important for confidence is it to get a win by such a high margin?
I thought it was going to be just a grinded out game. I really did all week. I was concerned about this game. The Ohio State game took a lot out of us, and I knew how hard these guys were going to play and what they were going to do. That's hats off to our guys for how well they played. Thought Adam Fisher did a great job of preparing them on the defensive end for what they were going to see, and I thought we guarded that great. And then our guys took some things from film in terms of what we watched, how we could attack them, and they did it. So it helps in our confidence. We start to see when told our guys I don't know if this is the exact quote because I had it written down the other day, but it was like the most interesting things happen just on the other side of your comfort zone. I feel like we had to get out of our comfort zone a little bit and try some things. Go out on faith and try some things, and I thought they really did that.
Mike, along those lines, their zone seemed to give you some issues in the first half, and you shot yourselves in the foot again. What's it like as a coach to see that light bulb go off in the second half? And big picture-wise, we're not going to get a chance to talk to you tomorrow. Where are Greg and Giovanni in terms of how close they are to playing? Thanks.
Yeah. This was our first really live action in a game against the zone. And how they played it was a little extended. So they took away what we were trying to do. So we just had to find the right openings, instead of doing exactly how it works in practice, because they guarded it a little bit different. like you have to tweak just a little bit. So, instead of the opening being on the wing, sometimes it's near the elbow, and then sometimes it's right in the middle by the nail. So I thought they did a better job of finding that, where that opening was, and we started to get better and better. It's also like a testament of, I thought, of how well we were playing versus man, that they went to the zone to try and slow it down, because I thought we were really moving the ball and getting good shots and good opportunities. Greg's getting close. Like he warmed up today and went through shoot around, and he got into practice a little bit. Let's see, a little bit Monday, not much, and then a little bit more on Tuesday. So we're going to ease him back in and try and find a chance to get him some live action. So he's close. He's pretty close to playing. I think he's closer than Giovanni in terms of playing. But we'll see with both of them. I think they're both inching closer and closer to being available for us.
Sam came off the bench tonight. What did you see from him as soon as he came in? Seemed to be a bit of a spark plug, handled the offense well when you guys were struggling, turned the ball over, getting inside, dishing it. What did you see from him handling coming off the bench tonight?
Yeah, I thought he was pretty locked in. I thought he wasn't as aggressive as he needed to be early in the game. Like I wanted him to catch. He caught it. I remember one time against the zone, he caught it. He didn't face the rim, and he had a chance to attack like a bigger guy in there. I brought him off the bench, and I told him this. Like I wanted him to play more with Jelani. Right? I think they're starting to build a pretty good chemistry in terms of playing in pick and roll together. Right? So we tried to go with different lineups surround Sam with a bunch of guys that can shoot and a guy that's a threat, at the rim. Jelani's a threat rolling, but he's also a vertical threat, right? He's a threat above the rim where sometimes you can't guard that. And he and Sam have good chemistry with their lobs when they're playing. So, just trying to find, I think, maybe it was Sunday night or Monday, you guys were asking me about different lineups and tinkering and finding different things. And I think you can constantly try and look at things to help your team. And, I think the more guys Sam plays with that space the floor and can shoot the floor, it opens up the middle of the floor for him to drive it. And now they're worried about Jelani rolling to the rim and catching lobs. Now Sam's getting layups and everything else. So, hope Tom Izzo's not watching this.
Micah, you touched on it a little bit there. Over here. You're good. Jelani, what has he brought to the table for you guys, especially, with Giovanni and Greg being out and having to be that guy that steps in for John when he needs a rest and foul trouble and things like that?
Yeah, he's, he never, questions what we're doing. I'm trying to look at the, 24 minutes tonight, which was more than he's played in the last few games. But he got an opportunity to play with John tonight. Right? There was a pretty good matchup where he could play with him, and I thought they did good things together. They help us rebound. They both can guard, their guys around the basket, around the rim, and they help stop the ball in our pick and roll defense. So, he gets in there and he competes. Like he blocks shots. He's long. He's active. He gets offensive rebounds. And I think, the more comfortable he gets, I think the better he gets. Like as the season keeps going and going, he finds that kind of niche of what he needs to do, and then constantly do it each game.
We'll go three more. We'll go Spencer, Andrew, and then Dave.
Micah, Jalen Pickett hit 500 career assists tonight. What makes Jalen such a unique playmaker?
He, I think he's unique because he's like the old cartoons, like the rabbit takes off and then the tortoise is still like hanging out by the free throw, or by the starting line. Like that's how Jalen is. He just kind of slowly gets his way to the lane, and then people come over and help. But he plays at such a pace where he's always under control. Right? He's very rarely not in control, but he's also kind of knows where everybody is. But that's him, getting good chemistry with John, getting good chemistry with the other guys on the court, and them being, in the right spots where he knows where they're going to be. He made some of those passes. He gets that kind of dump off every game where he gets in there and he pivots and he shot fakes and the guy jumps and he jumps and he dumps it down to the big. And then, like, he threw a pass in the second half late in the game off of a pick and roll to a guy across on the other side of the court. Like, there's not many people that can do that can play that way. He's got good size. He's got long arms. He can pass over the defense. So that makes him unique in how he plays. But he's also defending like crazy too. He's been really good on the defensive end.
Coach, you guys have played a couple top 25 teams coming into this one, a couple tournament teams. How do you feel that benefited you tonight when facing another tournament team?
You have to compete at a really, really high level every single night, like against the good teams, which, in our league, they're all good teams. And a game like this helps us because you can't take your foot off the gas. Like I wanted to get some of the guys that don't play very much, I wanted to get them in earlier, but I never felt comfortable. We were up 20 with 2 minutes left, and I didn't feel comfortable. So I'm like, they could get 3 or 4 steals in a row, and like now it's like getting back manageable. Where like every possession is magnified, every defensive rebound is magnified, and when you have to focus like that, when you have to compete like that for 40 minutes, that's how you have to play to beat good people. And we're having to play like that. We're going to have to play like that 3 times in 1 week with Ohio State, and now this game, and then again on Saturday.
Go ahead, Dave, last one.
Micah, we've talked a lot about the turnovers on the offensive end, but I think you guys have been toward the bottom of the country forcing turnovers as well. You got 15 tonight. How big was that for you, I guess, in response to what they were doing, and do you feel like that's important going forward?
I mean, not really. Like, we don't. It helps us. Yeah, it helped us tonight because we turned it over too many times again. But like our turnovers were us being in position. Like we got steals. I don't even know how many steals we got. We had 9 steals. It's amazing. But we were in the right spots. I can think of a few right in front of me in the first half when we went on the run. But all it was a guy, building the wall, helping against the drive, and playing like this. Right? If he's standing there with his hands on his hips, he's not getting a steal. But he's also not taking himself out of position to get a steal. We were in position and getting steals, and I think that's where we force turnovers. We won't be a high volume, like forcing turnover team. Like we'll start to get more like this once we get more sound in our defense, once we get more active in our gaps when we're helping, just as long as we're not taking ourselves out of position. So like we kept them off the glass. That's what I was more excited about that than the steals or the turnovers, because us being in position keeps us inside of their offense, and now you're in better block out position. And I think, throughout the season, there's not many teams that have gotten us on the glass like that. LSU, they got a bunch of superheroes running from half court and flying into the rim. Michigan State will be a challenge. That's what they do. So, but if we stay sound, if we stay solid, if we stay in good defensive position, it helps our rebounding. So, but yeah, I always say long and active in our gaps, and we were long and active. I think that's where a bunch of those turnovers came from.
Thank you, Coach. Thanks, everybody.